Donahue is joining Jane Unchained this morning with an amazing story. She has an incredible startup called MamaSezz.com that distributes plant-based food coast to coast. And Meg, tell us about your business and what inspired you.
Oh, Jane, thanks for having me. We started this in 2011. My mom was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. She had 10% heart function, her kidneys were failing, and she was 80 years old. And so they basically said, take her home, make her comfortable, and call hospice care. And so I come from a big Irish Catholic family, and what we said is, there's got to be somebody who has survived this. So I just researched like crazy. I literally Googled who has survived congestive heart failure. And what we found is a book by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn called Preventing and Reversing Heart Disease. And even though I had a big background in organic food, I had never heard this, the reversing part. And so we grabbed a hold of it and just said, what is this about? And what he teaches is that if you eat a whole food, plant-based diet, which is basically no meat, no dairy, no processed food, no oil, and no preservatives, you can reverse heart disease. So I brought my mom home. We renovated a little apartment in our garage, and we gave her tiny smoothies of whole food plant-based smoothies and soups. And what I thought, I had just had a baby. I thought we were going to maybe extend her life a little bit so that she could hold my daughter. And what ended up happening is, after about 3 months, she started to get a little bit better. She could walk around her apartment. She came to us not being able to do that. About 6 months in, we could see that the trajectory of her health was going up, which was totally unexpected. She started to be able to walk around our driveway, and she was 80, and she's going to be 87 in 2 months.
Wow!
87, and she swims 4 times a week. She does yoga. She drives. She travels, and all of that is great. But we also have the science behind it, because we have what her numbers were. Obviously, when she was that sick, she had heart surgery and all those things. There was nothing else she could do, and we have them now. And now she's at the low end of normal with her heart function. And that's not what you expect from 80. You don't expect it to go up. You don't expect to get better, especially when you are really, what they were saying is, this is it, make her comfortable, and this is the end of her life. And so what happened to us is we got better because we were eating this food. So for me, I was a competitive athlete. I had arthritis, all of those things gone. I had the beginnings of some eye disease, macular degeneration at a young age, and that was reversed. My partner had high blood pressure, and that was within a month. And that's the thing you can hardly tell people, is within a month, that was normalized. And so I said, what is going on? This cannot be an anomaly, because we're all experiencing something. And so I went to Cornell's course. I wanted to get the science behind it to figure it out. I did their plant-based nutrition course and realized, holy smokes, there is so much science behind this. There is so much that can say, if you eat this way, the big things that we face, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and they're beginning to find out now, and this is big, dementia, can be halted or mitigated by eating a simple whole food plant-based diet. And what we realized is it was a little hard to do. So how can we make it easier? And having a background in food and business, we had sold a company. We said, we got to get back into it. We have to make this easy for people to eat. And so our bar was, let's make ready-made food that is, when people start eating this way, they're like, well, I can do a salad and I can do a side, but what do I do for the chicken? What do they do for the protein is what they think. So we said, let's be that. Let's be your main meal. So anybody can throw together a salad. They don't want to eat them forever. They just want it as a side. Let's make a really hearty comfort food main meal that my football playing brothers would look at and say, yay, this looks like a real meal, not where's the protein. And so that's what we did. We spent about a year working with chefs and with our lab to make sure that the food could last in your fridge for about 2 weeks fresh. And we started, we put the plant together, put the team together, and started rolling, and we've been going fast ever since.
And so you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but I could order from MamaSezz. You would deliver it to me, and it would be packaged in a way that would keep it preserved, and then I could eat it within the next 2 weeks and have that perfect food that has helped your mother come back from the brink of death, that has helped you with your heart problems. I mean, this is the solution. And I urge everyone to go to MamaSezz.com and check it out, because I was on that website and there is so much. And, you know, 1 out of every 4 people dies of heart disease. I mean, this is so obvious. And FYI, the reason I started Jane Unchained after 38 years in mainstream media is the media is not telling this story. You know, it just is not getting out there. And the obvious reason is, look at the advertisers. Who stands to lose most if everybody goes plant-based and get healthy? Meat, dairy, pharmaceuticals. I mean, and those are the advertisers. And so the story has to come out through social media, because it's not getting out through mainstream media. I mean, even when the World Health Organization announced that processed meat is carcinogenic, even after that, the New York Times does a headline front page story about the best hot dogs, never even including a meatless hot dog, which, you know, is essentially promoting cancer-causing products. So that's what we're up against. But I love your company, and, you know, plant-based businesses are exploding, and you're on the forefront.
I think we are, and you really mentioned something about the advertising. And one of the things when we first got into this, we realized we have to make this really normal for people, because people have put veganism and plant-based eating and vegetarianism way in the fringe, when in fact, you know, it's really kind of silly that what we're having to do is normalize eating real food. You know, that's how far off the beam we are. We're having to make it normal for people again to understand that what you want, what's going to be best for you and for the planet, is if you eat real food. But that's what we do. And we took a cue from, you probably know Kaiser Permanente. It's one of the largest healthcare companies in the country. And what they recommend, and you really have to think about it, they recommend eating a whole food plant-based diet. And you have to ask, why would a health insurance company recommend eating a whole food plant-based diet? It's because they're going to have fewer claims. It is the best thing for your health. You're going to lower diabetes, lower heart disease, all the things that you said, lower cancer, weight, is going to normalize. I think one thing that we found that's been really rewarding is a lot of young women and men too. But what they say when they begin to eat just a whole food plant-based, no preservatives and no junk in their diet, is they unhook from this food thing, this kind of food addiction that we've just taken as the norm now, where people eat in, relation to whether they're going to gain weight or not gain weight. Is it good? Is it bad? When you cut all that out, people have so much energy and they have so much creative energy, and it's such a relief. They're just free. They're free from that kind of daily grind in relation to food. So now that I'm not working in the corporate world, I actually switched my insurance from Blue Cross to Kaiser Permanente for that exact reason, because I read that they were promoting plant-based and I wanted to support them, and I've had a great experience with them. So I want to say to everybody watching is either plant-based or knows somebody who is not plant-based and wants to spread the message. So if you're plant-based, you want great meals, you can order from MamaSezz. If you're plant-based and you know people who aren't plant-based and you know that they need this food because they're sick, they've got heart disease, they've got diabetes, they're obese, they're suffering from any number of health problems, send them this food because it's life-saving. You just heard Meg say that her mother was literally diagnosed with "you've got days to live," and now she's doing great because she switched to plant-based. These stories happen over and over again. What's happening in this country is morally wrong on many levels. It's an abomination because we are debating healthcare costs ad nauseum on cable television. And every so often I get a chance to do an interview and I try to bring up health. Oh, but wait, what if we talk? No, I am cut off. Nobody wants to talk about actual health. Nobody wants to talk about how our healthcare costs would drop dramatically. Those stent operations are expensive. We as taxpayers are forced to subsidize all of that because we've got a very sick system in place and nobody in power wants to address it. So thank God entrepreneurs like Meg Donahue here are talking the truth to people and offering products that will help us
reverse our health problems and become a healthy nation. I say make America healthy again.
I think you're exactly right. If we get to the cause, what's going on is we're all unhealthy. And if you could eat this way, you know it's going to impact the environment. It's going to impact the ocean. It's going to impact, you know, the cost of healthcare, because people won't have all of these things that are just, they're foodborne illnesses. They're preventable, and they cost so much money, and they really strain any system that we come up with is going to be compromised by it. Another thing that we do when we ship the food, one, we just want it to be food that everyone would love. So you wouldn't even have to qualify it as plant-based. As long as you like food, you'll like our food. It just happens to be really good for you and clean. But we also, when we first started, we ordered from all different companies. And what we realized is you get a lot of trash, essentially. You get, you know, a box, and then you get a liner, and you get coolers. And then you have to recycle it. And we said, that's a non-starter. We cannot keep putting that kind of burden on people and on landfills. Let's do something a little bit different. So what we decided is our first iteration, you know, we launched in February, is we pay for all of the boxes to come back. We recycle or reuse what we can. So nobody is burdened with that. You just slap the sticker back on, put your trash in, all the stuff, send it back to us, and we recycle it. And we're also in the process of making our own coolers out of plastic that we pull from the ocean. So there's tons of plastic in the ocean. It's a huge issue. And we said, what can we do? Why don't we, you know, taking a nod from a lot of the companies that are starting to get involved in it, why don't we start pulling this stuff from the ocean, pelletize it, making our own boxes, and then we can reuse those. And so we're not using virgin plastic make boxes. They're safe, and, you know, we can make coolers out of them. If people want them, they can keep them. Hopefully they'll send them back and we'll reuse them.
I am so inspired by your conscious capitalism. This is what the world needs. MamaSezz.com. Meg, thank you so very much for joining us.
Jane, you're wonderful. We appreciate your work. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Talk soon.
Bye-bye now.